Engineering is hard. The coursework is hard. It's hard to know what steps you should be taking towards your career while you're still a student. Navigating through lectures that don't help you much, having to come up with a capstone project, attending career fairs and writing resumes, and hoping to land an internship and a full-time job. I myself had pretty much no idea how to navigate all this, and frankly, I didn't. I graduated without internship experience, and honestly got lucky eventually landing something after graduation. And eventually, I ended up in a role that I'm satisfied with. But I want you to be successful in your education and career without making the same mistakes that I did. And so here's my most important advice for you as an engineering student. Be sure to stick around to the end of the video, as this advice will be crucial for each step as you work towards a lucrative and fulfilling career in engineering. So my first piece of advice is to have a goal in mind as early as possible. Try to do your research as early as possible about which engineering degree and how the one that you choose, what types of jobs and salaries and stuff that you can actually expect from it. Have a good understanding of what's actually needed in the market and also what you can enjoy doing enough. And the reason why I say you can enjoy it enough is because ideally you would want to work in something that has a shortage of qualified workers, and ideally it would be like something you love. That way it would be easy to get a job and you don't feel like you're dreading your 9 to 5 and dreading Mondays through Fridays and stuff. But I would say the sweet spot at the very least is enjoy it enough that you don't dislike your Mondays through Fridays, and then have something that's in demand enough that you're actually going to have a decent time getting a job and not have to struggle or wonder when the next time you're going to be able to eat is just because you don't have a paycheck coming in. So those two things are important. So you don't need to be super passionate about it. Maybe that's ideal, but passionate enough is passionate enough in this case. And definitely also try to have plan Bs and plan Cs, etc., because that definitely helps as well. You don't know if the first thing that you chose is really going to come to fruition, if there, it turns out that there's actually someone who ends up hiring you for that. So have a set of options and be prepared for all those possible options. And so as you choose your long-term career for what you want to work in, do whatever you can to gain experience related to it in research projects and organizations at your university. Then you can leverage that experience to get internships. Then you leverage those internship experiences to get your first entry-level job. So it is a chain of events that you have to build on, and each step really matters. So this is all very important because engineering at the entry level, it's competitive. You need to stand out in order to get that first job. It didn't used to be like this, honestly. Probably like 20 years ago, anyone who got an engineering degree might not have really had to try to get an entry level job. Unfortunately, that's just not the case anymore because it's kind of a cycle of when something's in high demand and high paying, more people start going into it, which then floods that market and saturates it. That's kind of where we've gotten with engineering, is that people saw it's high paying and there's a lot of need for it. So more people went into it, but now there's more tough competition for the limited number of roles. So be sure that you are doing what you need to do to stand out. The second thing I'm going to talk about is to understand myth versus fact. So you're going to hear stuff from friends and family and the news, and these things about engineering are not always true, like what the market is and what kinds of roles there are and stuff. Because I believed, like I mentioned at first, that engineering's in high demand. It's going to be easy to get an entry level job, even if I had just the degree and didn't actually take the time to learn practical skills or get internships and stuff. And so I found out the hard way that this is really hard to get a job without these things. I was unemployed for about 5 months after graduation, which I was lucky that it was that short actually, because I went through a lot of rejections from jobs to get there. So I don't want you to make the same mistake that I did. Make sure that you're doing what you can as early as possible related to whatever career path you think you want to go down, or what your plan A, plan B, plan C, etc. is. Start joining some clubs or research projects and stuff that are related to that particular area. Get practical skills and start to apply yourself and put it on your resume to try to stand out from the crowd. And so with myths versus facts, like there's also that kind of thing with regarding the prospects and which job types there are for each degree, like what each degree could actually get you into and what the job types are and stuff. Like, for instance, there was a classmate in one of my gen eds earlier on who he said he transferred from mechanical engineering to chemical engineering because he thought that it had more opportunity than mechanical engineering. He said, "Oh, yeah, I found out that chemical engineers can do like 90% of what mechanical engineers can do, plus their own." And as someone who has known chemical engineers and someone who's been working as an engineer, I would just say this is frankly utter BS. That's just not true. I don't have any coworkers who have chemical engineering degrees as a mechanical engineer. There are definitely some jobs that are overlapping, like chemical engineers with a bachelor degree, if they don't keep going on to become professors and do research. The ones that I've known are working in manufacturing plants as process engineers. Maybe there are some who like design chemical products or something, but a lot of the ones I know work as manufacturing or process engineers in plants, which mechanical can actually also do that, but I've never met anyone who got a degree in chemical engineering who's working on mechanical design, mechanical analysis. I don't think I know anyone in the aerospace industry and or like the civil industry or stuff that because most industries will still hire mechanical engineers, like biomedical, medical device companies, and aerospace hires mechanical engineers, and automotive, civil, like most of them hire mechanical engineers. A lot of them would not necessarily really look at chemical. So, yeah, that's kind of my rant in refuting that particular claim. Another person in that same conversation kind of said mechanical engineering is like where it's like if a boat needs to be fixed, you're the engineer to fix it. No, I've never heard of anyone doing that. That actually sounds, I mean, maybe depending on the degree of what's broken, or maybe there's some kind of engineer working on that, but that's not like a super basic thing that mechanical engineers do. So, I mean, my point here, just do your own research. Don't just blindly trust what people say about job types and stuff. Actually learn about them yourself, ideally from people who have actually worked the jobs. So now let's talk about time management, and especially when you're trying to learn your material and get your assignments done. So studying and coursework are going to take up a lot of your time. You're going to need to time manage very well. When you're learning tough material, it's like learning another language. You need to spend a lot of time immersing yourself in it. You need to gradually understand it the more you immerse yourself in it. It's not going to be as simple as reading a section or looking through a set of equations and then now you just understand it. You can't just look through an example problem and then expect to know the core concepts behind it. Actually immerse yourself in practice problems and just in what the textbook material is. Ideally, go to your professor's office hours to have them help you with it or hear discussions from other people around talking about it. Because the more you take the time to look at it and see the examples, hear the language spoken, the more it's going to start to click. And that just takes time. And you're also going to need to have time for your practical experience, like I talked about earlier. Time for engineering clubs to get those practical skills in whichever area you choose, research projects related to whichever areas of engineering you want to try to pursue, internships. Not having these things, like I mentioned, is going to make it very difficult to get a job. So you do need to be making time for these things and actually doing them. So that's another thing that's going to be part of your time budget as you assess what your time budget is, what each day looks like, how much time each thing takes. And you do also need some leisure. And as a mechanical engineering student or as any engineering student, as you're trying to learn things, as you're trying to apply it in clubs and research projects and internships, the leisure time is probably going to be a pretty small minority of your time, at least depending on who you are. Like some people, it's kind of a luck thing that they grasp everything more easily and can get things done more quickly, but some of us are going to have to spend more time and work harder on things than that. It's just kind of a hard truth of reality. But no matter what, you are going to need some leisure time because studying and working every minute of every day just isn't sustainable. You're going to burn yourself out. You're going to get way too tired of constantly be racking your brain and going into hyperdrive for everything. So you need to prioritize what's important in your life, time manage as necessary to get all of your coursework and hands-on commitments done. And then just have, even if it's just 30 minutes, I would recommend taking like at the very minimum 30 minutes a day as a rule of thumb. Just do things to decompress and to relax. Just keep things sustainable and also try to enjoy your life at least a little bit. For the most part, once you're going to be working in a full-time job, most jobs have, I'd say, more leisure time outside of them than being in school does, just because in most cases, nights and weekends are free for you. You don't have like homework to worry about. Although, I mean, it's different depending on the job. Sometimes some companies require more overtime and stuff. But I would say, in my experience, and for most people I've spoken to, they don't need to spend tons of time on nights and weekends working. But yeah, for now, like, expect during your school years to be grinding away, but just try to time manage, try to relax sometimes, try to do the best you can. But yeah, that's what I've got for my most important advice for engineering students, and I hope you found this helpful. If you did find this helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel to continue hearing more about engineering careers and how to be successful in them. And thanks for the view. I hope to speak with you soon.